This webinar has been organised by our new partners to update you on where we are and where we're heading with the parking and transport strategy for y Wyddfa and Ogwen areas of Snowdonia National Park. Most of this update tonight will be done through the medium of Welsh, sorry. Therefore, if you need an English translation, please go now to the bottom of your screen to the interpretation option and choose English. Feel free to let us know in the chat if you have any issues with this. Rob, our technical guru, is here in the background to help out and answer any of your technical problems. Diolch yn fawr, and I'm going to switch into Welsh now, so I just need to choose that channel. Felly, croeso cynnes gen I yn
So a
Llydr.
very warm welcome from myself, Partnership Manager for the National Park. You'll also see Catherine Glenn, who is the Wyddfa Partnership Officer, and we're very glad to welcome Bethan Harrington, who representing Jacobs tonight, who is a communication company who has been appointed by Transport Wales. Transport Wales is supporting us in delivering some of the initial projects that follow on from the park and ride review that we undertook last year. And just as a quick reminder of this, I'll transfer to Catherine to share her screen and give a bit of a background to the project. Thanks, Angela. I'll just share my screen. Hopefully you can all see it. As you all know, one of the main and key recommendations of the Snowdon and Ogwen Parking and Transport Review is that the Snowdon Partnership works with communities to come up with sustainable solutions to the parking and transport challenges in the area. Yes, it is an ambitious, sustainable vision, which was proposed in the report, and Anja will talk more about that in due course. But it is essential that we work with communities as we move this work forward, and local knowledge and feelings are vital to any developments in the area and are integral to our work. And we need to engage and consult as we go along. And as you know, these scenes are not new in the park, but the situation has been especially as a result of the pandemic, has been under the microscope again this year, and in this sensitive area around the Wyddfa and Ogwen, especially as the restrictions were relaxed last year. I don't need to tell you what the challenges are. We have presented the draft strategy to you, which discusses the challenges, and I don't need to run through them, but very in brief, the internal area isn't able to cope with the transport or the traffic during those peak times, and it affects the lives of local people and the visitor experience. So we have a vision in order to respond to these challenges in a sustainable way for the future. So in the review, this area was defined as the internal area, that is Wyddfa and Ogwen, and 4 communities were proposed as gateway communities which have the well, that is with the blessing of those communities, they can be centres where visitors can arrive and have access high quality services once they reach those communities before they move on to the internal part of the national park. Every community is of course unique, and there are challenges which are unique in each and every one, and that's why this consultation is so crucial to us. We have come a long way, and this is just a brief update since the presentations that have already happened in the past. But following that initial consultation, when we had the draft of the strategy, we have presented our vision to our partners to ensure support for the draft strategy in principle from our stakeholders. We've also held high-level workshops in order to start the discussion on the initial questions around this recommendation. And so we have started that discussion with our core partners, Gwynedd and Conwy councils, and we have secured financial support from Welsh Government through Transport Wales in order to implement some of the recommendations to implement the strategy. So as far as the projects are concerned, the first one in front of your screen now are the online workshops, and this is the purpose of this webinar, to provide you with information on how that consultation will actually work. So the other projects will, that is, the consultation will feed into the other projects as well. And so it is extremely important that we speak to as many people as possible. But basically the other projects are a public transport management study, establishing an automatic pre-booking system for Pen y Pass in the long term, or at least the mid-term, like we piloted during the summer of last year. So that's being implemented. Also developing a live monitoring system. We also trialed that last year, and it's required a lot of work from us as staff. And we're hoping to put a system in place that is more resource light. Also to recognize cycle network and cycle hire schemes opportunities. Now Angela will say a bit more about the vision. So over to Angela. Thank you very much. Well, as you know, this has been inspired by the project in Austria, where they had the sustainable proposal there. But we need to emphasize that one of the core elements is that is concentrates on
community master
our
planning.
own community master planning that we've discussed. So we won't be able to go ahead without communities deciding how they're going to formulate and develop their own specific visions, which relate to their circumstances and situations here in Eryri. On the next slide, you will get an overview of the long-term vision. I'm sure a lot of you have heard this before, so I'm not going to run through it in detail, but obviously that vision is based on a sustainable tourism model. This looks forward in the long term to a car-free future in this internal area, and it utilizes zero carbon approaches. Of course, this means a significant change in behavior for us all. The strategy promises many benefits for the area. The most obvious of which is the improvement to our environment, especially through the development of new practices in accessing the protected landscape. It also aims to promote a better experience for visitors and residents who want to make an impact on our local economy, especially through things like standardized tariffs, and increase them significantly in the inner area to encourage use of the hubs and those gateways. In terms of our culture, a new social contract a new social contract will be created with visitors, aimed at promoting respect for the area and the people who live and work here. And in order to do all of this, it is vital that, like Catherine said, that local communities shape the future of their areas in order to improve our network for residents as well, not just for visitors. So hopefully we can move on to collect our ideas together. And in that sense, I mean collectively our ideas, all of our ideas, in order to outline what we want and how we all want to see this area looking like in the future. So Bethan will explain how this will happen. So over to you, Bethan. Thanks, Angela. I'm Beth. I'm from Grasshopper Communications, and we're helping to manage the consultation with Jacobs. Although the current restrictions to help reduce the spread of coronavirus means that we can't meet in person, we have designed a comprehensive and inclusive process focusing on 4 key themes for discussion. That is parking in those gateways communities, passenger transport, walking and cycling, and new local services and amenities. We'll talk a bit more about that later. The consultation period will start on Monday, the 1st of February, and last 4 or 5 weeks until the 7th of March, allowing plenty of time for people to get involved. There will be a bilingual webpage that will go live from the 1st of February, which will provide an overview of the project, a consultation document, details of how to book onto our online community workshops, a survey, and a question and answer section. We'll also be posting a recording of this webinar. In addition, the local community can send their views via email, or they can call the project telephone line. We're also organizing online community workshops to look at each of the 4 gateway communities. These workshops will be hosted via Zoom, and we will also be making a virtual workshop tool available on the night in order to improve the interactive nature of the sessions. For example, people can write down their comments on virtual sticky notes and put whilst the other people are talking, just like you would in a face-to-face workshop. For this reason, we recommend that workshop attendees use a computer or a laptop rather than a smartphone with a small screen if possible. So put a diary marker in. The workshop will take place in the last week of February and the first week of March, with 1 workshop per gateway community. Each workshop will start with a presentation from the Sotoni National Park and parking and transport strategy and the sustainable tourism approach. And following that, there will be a technical presentation from Martin Higgett, who undertook the initial research on parking and transport in the area last year. After that, we will be putting participants into breakout rooms in line with the priority preferences they expressed during the registration process where possible. During the breakout sessions, our facilitators will be encouraging people to share their views and ideas for the 4 priority areas. With parking, we'll be seeking opinions on where park and ride facilities should be located within the gateway communities or on the approaches to them. Regarding passenger transport, we want to know where locals want to see their bus services going to and from, and where transport interchanges should actually be located. With regard to walking and cycling, we are looking for ideas on how and where we could develop new and improve existing routes. And regarding local services and amenities, we'd like to know what would be most beneficial for the gateway communities, what they actually need. And so we are trying to promote the consultation process in a sustainable way. Rather than sending out lots of leaflets, we're placing a half-page advert in the Daily Post at the start of the consultation, which we hope will capture those people who are not as digitally connected. The advert itself will let people know how to request a copy of the consultation document and survey itself, which they can complete and post back to us to our free post address. The advert will also provide our contact details so that they will be able to phone us to ask the questions and provide feedback if they prefer that. Workshop dates will also be included in the advert. A press release will also go out to coincide with the launch on Monday, so we hope to get some press coverage on that as well. The webpage will provide information on the consultation and an online booking form for the online community shops. If you know anyone who wants to attend the workshop, please direct them to the booking system on the web page. Our social media campaign will also be rolled out through the consultation. We have a series of social media posts scheduled to go out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter in order to encourage people to sign up to the workshops by the 16th of February, and that's the deadline. We will also have posts to encourage them to find out more from the project from the webpage and complete the online survey. It would be brilliant if you could help us by sharing these posts on your own social media platforms in order to ensure the message gets to our target audience. But that's not the only thing you can do to help, though we are aware that not everybody will be digitally connected. So we have produced a poster for you to print out and put up in your communities, in obvious places in your communities, preferably somewhere that's sheltered from the weather, if possible. And like I said previously, you will be able to order a hard copy of the survey as well. These are our contact details, which will be sent to you on Monday. This is our webpage address, free post address, a project email address, and a dedicated phone number. So finally, if anybody has any questions about the consultation process, please feel free to use the Q&A or chat features at the bottom of your Zoom screen. We can only answer questions about the consultation this evening, but please keep anything about parking or transport for the workshops themselves, if you don't mind. Thank you for your time, and I'll hand the reins back to Angela now, who will chair the consultation question and answer session. Thanks, Angela. Thanks, Beth. And we have one question from David already, who has a brilliant idea. Thanks for that. It would be an idea to put the adverts in the Papur Ebro, the local papers. Thank you very much for that. We will be doing that. So we'll wait and see if there's anything else that's coming up in the chat.
Sa'n siŵr, Catrin, os ydych chi eisiau roed yr sleid ar y sgrin hefo'r...
I'm not sure, Catrin, if you wanted to put a slide on the screen with all of the addresses again and all of the contact details so that people can make a note of them. So Gareth has said regarding the research work on the website, I'm glad that I've asked Catrin to put that slide back up on the screen once again. Those details are all on the Wyddfa partnership website, the first one here. And also, can I just add, the project website will be live from Monday onwards. So if the links don't work before, then that's the reason why Monday is when they go live.
Oes angen I bawb gofrestru gyfer cyfarfodydd Zoom I pob...
Does everybody need to register for the Zoom meetings in every area? Thanks, Gwyneth, for that question. If you don't want to attend the online workshops, yes, you do need to register for all of them. Obviously, you can provide your response or your input through the online system as well. There will be questions online. So like Benthan mentioned, there are many ways for you to have your input.
Question, diolch Tom am y question.
Thank you, Tom, for the question. Who will be analysing the results of the sessions?
Sgroliwch I fyny.
Yeah, beth sy'n digwydd ac nag oes unrhyw fath o cytundeb mewn cymuned?
What happens if there isn't an agreement in the communities? That's a good question, Tom. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But as far as analysing the results are concerned. Obviously, the Jacobs and Grasshopper will be working on that on our behalf, and they will feed back to us. And then we'll go back to the communities for the second time around after we've analysed everything that we will have received from the initial consultation.
Paul, diolch am y nodyn.
Paul,
Okay,
thank you
newn ni-
for that note. We'll approach Llais Ogwen tomorrow.
Edward, bydd yr Edward yr ymgynghoriad yn
Edward,
cael ei rhan-
will the feedback from the consultation be shared with the communities and with further
Hwnna'n
comments?
barod, yeah,
Hopefully, I've
bendant.
already responded to that, yeah, which is definitely, it will be.
Dim just un cyfle sydd na
There isn't just the one opportunity.
Okay,
There are several. Mel, thank you for that comment. We need to make clear that the project includes Dyffryn Ogwen. Perhaps it may be confusing. Everything and all of the documents says the Wyddfa and Ogwen.
Just oedd yn haws i cael cyfeiriad e-bost.
It was easier to have an email address which said the Wyddfa, but definitely I agree with what you're saying. We'll make it clear to everybody that includes Ogwen. Can I just add to that as well?
Wedi cael ei galw yn partneriaeth yr Wyddfa.
The links will be called the partneriaeth y Wyddfa, but there will be something in the bio to say that they've been set up specifically for this project and includes the Wyddfa and Ogwen area as well. And they're asking who the membership of the Wyddfa partnership is. Thanks, Angela. There are several members in the partnership. We have our core partners, Gwynedd and Conwy Council. We have the farmers unions. We have a landowner on the Wyddfa, also NRW, the National Trust, and tourism establishments and organisations. I can't think of anybody else off the top of my head, but there is a cross section of members, everybody who has any responsibility for managing the mountain. If you go on our website, I apologize if I've forgotten somebody, but they're all there on our website.
Of course, you can have a copy of the slides, no problem at all. We can get those sent on to you. Un I ti yma, Bethan.
There's one for you here, Bethan. Is there a limit on the number of people who will be able to join the community workshops? We're expecting about 50. There is a limitation in a way because we need to limit the number of people in the discussion rooms, because if you have more than 10 people in a discussion room, it's very difficult for everybody to have their say. We're looking at 5 to 6 discussion rooms at the moment. So the figure at the moment is 60.
O bosib gallu hynny gael ei newid os oes...
Possibly that may change if there are very many people actually registering. Yeah, we definitely don't want to limit anybody's opportunity to be a part of the consultation. So if there will be more, then we can review that and arrange that everybody will be able to contribute in some way or another. We have mentioned that if we need to, we will hold another event. Okay then, thank you. I can't see any further comments coming through. I'll wait a couple of minutes. Gwynedd, okay, who decides if there is a fair section in the discussion groups? Beth, over to you. A very interesting question. We will decide initially according to your priority choice. Everybody will have 2 discussion subjects. It will also depend on your choice of language, because we will have 4 discussion rooms in Welsh and 1 or 2 in English. Depends on who registers. And so between the language and the discussion topics, I believe it will mostly sort itself. So we'll have to see how
Does dim
it goes. Though we don't have any rules as such on paper, but obviously we'll try and be as sensible as possible.
Yeah. Cynrychiolaeth o ran bobl lleol sy'n dylanwyr
We
gennyf.
need to make sure that we have representation from local people. When you register for the workshops, the form will ask you for your postcode, and so that will let us know where people are coming from, obviously, so we can arrange things according to postcodes as well. With regard to landowners, farmers, visitors, we're not really expecting that many visitors this time around because this is a community consultation, but it does depend which topic you actually choose in the registration process, and that's what will separate people into the different groups.
Iawn.
3 munud ar ôl. Dych chi eisiau
3
deud
minutes left now. Was there anything else that you wanted to say about the consultation? If I can just reiterate the fact that we need the community's help in order to promote the project, especially with the COVID situation. Please talk about it in your communities when you go for a walk, when you see people. We would be very grateful if you could help us to spread the message.
Os nad oes mwy o gwestiynau.
If there are no further questions, I can't see any new questions popping up. I'll just check that again.
Diolch yn fawr I bawb.
So thanks to everybody for joining us tonight. It's been a real pleasure,
Byddwn ni'n edrych mlaen at
and we'll be looking forward to seeing you for in the workshops. So thank you all very much, and good night.